yours, every head of every major hospital, every major department in that hospital is his own death panel. You think about it. You're the head of the oncology department at Christchurch Public Hospital, where I live. You have a budget of, say, $20 million a year for chemotherapy to treat cancer patients. It's the end of the year, your budget's running out. You've got a 75-year-old guy in this bed. He's got prostate cancer. You can give him $200,000 worth of chemo and you can extend his life 2, 3, maybe 5 years. You've got a 7-year-old girl in this bed. She's got leukemia. You can give her $200,000 worth of treatment. You might extend her life 30, 40, 50 years. She might grow up, marry, have children, have a career. Your budget's running out, folks. It's the end of the year. You can only afford to treat one of them. What are you going to do? What would you do? What would any humane person do? We don't talk about rationing in my country. We just know that if you're old and not paying taxes and you're a useless eater, you do not get the same level of treatment who someone who's young and productive and paying taxes. You just don't, folks, because the budget is fixed and the needs are unlimited. You have to ration. You have to triage. Every doctor makes these decisions every day, folks. And it works well, as long as you're not too old or too young or not paying taxes. You'll get your treatment eventually. We don't talk about rationing, we just know that if you're old, you just get lots of morphine and you get put down the end of the corridor and you die in dignity, so to speak. That's how it works in Australia, folks. It's how it works in Britain. It's how it works in Canada, which is why they all come here. But it's going to be different in America, right? Because the laws of economics don't apply here, do they? Anyone who tells you there's not going to be rationing, folks, is lying to your face. Because it cannot work any other way. Now, the father of the single-payer healthcare movement is a retired Chicago physician named Quentin Young. The guy's pushing 90 now. And in my darker moments, I often wish he'd gone to live in Canada 20 years ago. Because he probably wouldn't be with us now. But he spent most of his life trying to wreck your system. It's been his life's work. He set up Physicians for a National Health Plan. He's worked with the AMA, worked with Canadian doctors. The father of the movement, people. He's got single-payer legislation in front of your Congress on several times, working with John Conyers and other reps. And it's always failed. But in 2009, with the Affordable Health Care Act, they finally started to make progress. And it's not surprising the progress came under Mr. Obama, because for many years in Chicago, Quentin Young was Mr. Obama's personal physician. Openly claims credit for indoctrinating Obama into socialised healthcare. Says Obama was a big fan of single payer when he was Illinois state senator and nobody paid any attention to him. Quentin Young was a 40-year veteran of the Communist Party USA. Any Vietnam veterans in the room? I knew there would be, thank you. In the early 1970s, Quentin Young and 3 other radical doctors went to North Vietnam to offer their services to the communist government when they were trying to kill you guys. That's how patriotic Mr. Young is. He then joined Democratic Socialists of America, which is your largest Marxist group, and they are the people behind Obamacare, folks, 100%. They've been pushing socialised healthcare for 40 years. They pushed it through Physicians for a National Health Plan, through the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which they set up, 80 members in your House. They pushed it through the AFL-CIO that they control. They had a whole bunch of their comrades on Hillary's panels. They are the people behind it, 100%. And now they are boasting in their publications that Obamacare is going to fail. It's going to fail, folks. It's a screw-up. But that's fine, because then they're going to blame the greedy doctors and the greedy insurance companies, and single payer comes next. That's the plan. And to just labour the point a little bit, just before the last election, the Obama campaign put out a little video designed to mock Mitt Romney. They said, hey Mitt, guess what? The joke's on you. You know how you hate Obamacare, you want to get rid of it? Well, the man who designed it for us, the architect of it, that's John McDonough, former Massachusetts state legislator, Harvard academic. Well, guess what, Mitt? He was the man who also designed Romneycare, so ha-ha. And it's true, McDonough did design both systems. Mitt Romney got a bill out of the Massachusetts state legislature, which is shot full of Democratic Socialists of America supporters. He tried to push it back, make it less socialist, but a compromise was reached. What the little video did not say was that John McDonough was the Boston chairman of Democratic Socialists of America. So a Marxist designed Obamacare. The same Marxist organisation promoted it through the Progressive Caucus and Physicians for a National Health Plan and the AFL-CIO. And another member of the same group personally indoctrinated your president into it. 7,000 members, folks, that's all they have. But they're about to socialise between 1/6 and 1/4 of your economy. But you're not going to let them do it, are you, people?
No!
You stand strong, folks, because this is all about control. Nothing to do with healthcare. Now, I want to talk about another example of how this works. And this should resonate here in Colorado. If Tom's still here, I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Comprehensive immigration reform, otherwise known as amnesty. Now, you have Republicans telling you that if you give 11, 12, 20, 30 million illegal immigrants citizenship and voting rights, this is going to be good for the GOP, right? Because they're going to be so grateful, they're all going to start ticking the R's, right? Delusional. Just like the 80% of the Jewish population in this country have been voting Democrat for 100 years, no matter what Obama does to Israel, they still keep ticking those D's, don't they? The 90% of the black population in this country who's been voting Democrat for more than 60 years, no matter what the Democrats do to destroy their culture and their families, they still keep ticking those D's, don't they? People don't change quickly, folks. And the illegals, a lot of them are Latinos, they're socially conservative, they might change in 20 or 30 years. But we don't have that time, folks. We've got 2.5 years maximum to save this country. And I'll explain why soon. They're not going to change in that time, folks. So why do these Republicans like Marco Rubio and John McCain and Lindsey Graham and John Boehner and Eric Cantor tell you this arrant crap? Why do they do it? Could it be connected in any way to the fact that the US Chamber of Commerce has spent $1.7 billion promoting amnesty in the last 10 years? And what do you think the Chamber wants out of this, folks? Not hard, is it? Cheap labour to run their factories and farms. Because we all know, don't we, that their profits are far more important than your border security or your national integrity or the laws of your land, right?
Wow.
No. And is it a coincidence that the Republicans who are promoting this stuff are the ones most closely allied to big agribusiness in the Chamber of Commerce? Or am I being overly conspiratorial, perhaps? Do you think?
No.
But the real driver of this, folks, is the hard left. This started back in California in the 1950s. Communist Party member named Bert Corona. He was also a Democrat. He was the one who started the Viva Kennedy clubs, the first organised effort to bring Latinos into the Democratic Party. On Communist Party instructions, Corona set up a whole network of illegal immigrant support networks across the Southwest and Southern California. Hundreds of these groups designed to encourage illegals across the borders, get them work in the factories and farms, get them green cards, citizenship and voting. That was the main objective. All done, mainly paid for by the taxpayer and the unions. Corona trained hundreds of people to carry on his work. It was a big program, and 3 of them are very prominent today. They all work very closely together in California. One of them is Antonio Villagrosa, until recently the mayor of Los Angeles, a hardcore Marxist. Villagrosa turned Los Angeles into a sanctuary city. He forbade the LAPD from enforcing immigration laws, and the illegals flooded into that state, changed the entire demographics of Southern California. His comrade, Gil Cedillo, another Marxist, until recently head of the California State Senate, big-time immigration activist, big-time Communist Party USA supporter. He was the man who got the DREAM Act pushed through in California a couple of years ago, and that gave all sorts of rights to the children of undocumented workers. Third member of his little group, all Corona disciples, Maria Elena Durazzo, another Marxist, currently the head of the California AFL-CIO, most powerful woman in that state. She is the one behind the massive union-driven Latino voter registration drives and get out the vote efforts that have added hundreds of thousands of Latino voters to the California rolls, almost all Democrats. Because of the efforts of these people, California, which was once a reddish, purplish state, is now solidly blue. Even Orange County, once the most conservative county in the whole of the United States, is now purple. All as a result of the encouragement of legal immigration by the Marxists of California. A deliberate Democrat importation scheme, folks. 100%. Go to Arizona now. Red state. A politician died there in 2012. One of the most successful politicians ever in that state, and I bet you've never heard of him. Lorenzo Torres, head of the Communist Party USA's Latino Commission. His job was just like Corona, to set up networks to support illegal immigration right across the Southwest, from Texas to Colorado, Nevada to New Mexico, Arizona and California. Set up a whole bunch of networks to encourage illegals across the border and get them settled here. He also led the charge against any attempt to crack down on illegal immigration across the Southwest. He was the man behind the massive demonstrations against SB 1070 in Arizona a couple of years ago, a battle, thanks to people like you, that he lost. Torres also set up the movements in Phoenix and Tucson that gave Arizona, one of the reddest states in the Union, one of the most libertarian, 3 Communist Party supporters in their congressional delegation. 3 of them. Raul Grijalva, Ed Pastor, and the freshman Kirsten Sinema. All done by Lorenzo Torres and his comrades. Now what about today, right now? The leader of the immigration rights movement in this country, you've seen him on TV many times in his purple shirt, leading immigration rallies, is a man called Eliseo Medina. Now he is the man who got the bill through the House through the Senate, and as the Executive Vice President of the SEIU union, largest union in your country and the one with the biggest Latino membership, he has been using his union members across this country to rally outside the offices of Republican congressmen like Mr. Kaufman here in your state to get them to change their position on immigration, to get them to put a bill through the House. Medina is a member of Democratic Socialists of America and a supporter of the Communist Party USA, and he is also a former member of Obama's Latino Advisory Committee. He is the man, he works very closely with Raul Grijalva on immigration issues and also with Luis Gutierrez, who is driving this through the House of Representatives. Gutierrez is a former member, a rep from Illinois, a former member of the pro-Cuban Marxist-Leninist Puerto Rican Socialist Party, a semi-terrorist group. So basically Medina is the man, folks. He is leading this right now. Now, to labour the point, which organisation in this country 20 years ago was leading the charge against illegal immigration? Which organisation was constantly lobbying Congress to increase penalties on any employer caught employing illegal aliens? Unions, folks. The AFL-CIO, because they saw that illegal immigrants were unfair competition for union members and would drive wages and conditions down. Very logical. Which organisation in 2014 is leading the charge against illegal leading the charge to legalise and get citizenship and voting rights